On to Packers, Niners. San Francisco, 9.5-point favorite. Don't think this number is going to climb back to 10. I don't know if you have a different take on that. We've seen it dip in Green Bay's direction over the course of the week. Total anywhere between 49.5 and 50.5, but pretty much 50.5s across the board. Even some 51s starting to pop before pro money came in. I think it's pro money on the under, at least as of Wednesday. And I'm probably not going to have any bets on the side or total, Mo. Anything for you, whether it's those major markets or props for this game?
Looking at props as well in this game too. Think the side is right. Think the total, I do lean under here. Mainly because I think the 49ers are going to run the ball a ton and do it very well. So I'm guessing the clock is going to be churning. But, I mean, it is really hard to ignore how strong Green Bay looked in the last couple of games, though. I will say that. I mean, you just look at these numbers, and they're pretty sick. I mean, 7.7 yards per play is what they got versus the Cowboys. 7.2 versus Chicago. I mean, are these world-beating defenses? No, but they're solid defenses. I mean, they're respectable defenses, and the Packers literally just did whatever they wanted in those games. I mean, this 9.5 line could look crazy if the Packers can keep doing stuff like that. I think if you want to play the Packers, you should probably play some alts here, like, because if they play like that, then they could win the game. You know, Packers +3, Packers +3.5, stuff like that looks pretty good to me. That being said, I do think the 49ers are going to just kind of thrash them with rushing the ball. That makes me wonder about some props for sure. Brock Purdy under 30.5 passing attempts. I like that one. I think, like I said, should be a lot of rushing. Could be bad weather as well. It's a number he only went over twice all year. Like, I know that there's a lot of blowouts in there, but I mean, the line is still 9.5 in this game. So that's like pretty much where they were at in a lot of these games that they played in the regular season. So the weather also hat tip to Disciple 31, I think, in our Discord. He was saying that he reminded me that Purdy really struggled with the wet ball in the Cleveland game. Like, he had a couple of flubs where he couldn't hang on to it in a couple of spots. So that might make them even more lean into the run. I'm sure if we know that, their staff knows that.
Yeah.
So that could be a factor as well. I do want to also throw out one more thing we talked about a little bit, which is I wondered if the Packers could live in 12 again and attack this team on the ground like they did against the Cowboys. We did find a tweet from John Daigle. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, he dug up the metrics on 49ers facing 12 personnel, and they were top 5 versus the run, the pass, and overall. So probably going to have to come with something different. So definitely consider that in your prop handicapping. Like, could be fewer snaps for tight ends, Musgrave, Kraft, whatever you want to look at there. Maybe more for receivers here. Something to think about for sure.
Yeah, good nugget on the San Francisco defensive matchup against Jordan Love. Also, to that point, you brought up I guess juxtaposed to Love, you brought up Purdy struggles against the Browns in man coverage in poor conditions. Probably a little windier in that game against Cleveland. But the Browns, for some reason, played a lot of zone last week against the Texans. They're more of a man-to-man defense overall. So just odd how they game plan against Stroud, considering Stroud has torn up zones, maybe trying to switch things up a little bit from that Week 16 matchup. But it definitely backfired if you're looking at coverage rate and just coverage scheme overall. But Purdy has had a lot of success against zone defenses. When you look at EPA per dropback, top-ranked quarterback against zones. So I'll mention who's number 2 on that list in a bit. Bit of a tease. It includes one of these quarterbacks in the latter 2 Sunday games. But anytime touchdown prop that I'm looking at, Mo, weather maybe playing a little bit of a factor, and it's dipped over the course of the week. But Christian Watson, anytime touchdown plus 275. First off, no real limitations, it seemed like, in that Cowboys game. Only had 1 catch for 9 yards, but I thought that was more of a product of Dan Quinn doubling him a lot. If you look at some of the completions Love made, he and being Watson, had a safety over the top in his coverage route pretty much almost every snap or almost every route run. And that allowed Romeo Doubs to just get a ton of space over the middle. Even on that Musgrave touchdown, I want to say Watson was double or even triple team. So the Cowboys tried to make up for the fact that they got burned by Watson the previous season with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. And that didn't work out too well for that Cowboys defense and Mike McCarthy overall. But like we said, Jerry Jones bringing back what is old and what is new. Well, the Cowboys will continue to lose in the playoffs. But Watson plus 275 worth a look for me anytime touchdown in a game script that should be fairly negative unless we're wrong and the market is wrong that the Packers wind up having a positive game script. Maybe your alt spread with Green Bay is correct, but as 9.5-point dogs, considering I'm not gearing towards the Packers, if Watson and Shanahan's defensive scheme or the 49ers defensive scheme under Steve Wilkes doesn't decide to double Watson as much as the Cowboys did, then plus 275 is worth a look. Jaden Reed didn't get a catch in that game either, but you look at his anytime touchdown price, plus 200. So considering you're getting a little more of value with Watson per se, even though his number is dipped over the course of the week, a little bit of a look for me on anytime touchdown if I fire anything in this game.
Yeah, I actually looked up Reed's yardage as well. I don't think the market has come off him at all, to be honest. I was wondering if buying low there might be good, but I didn't see anything that caught my eye. But the Watson thing makes sense for sure, because I would guess he's more of a factor. I mean, same for Reed, but the market already reflects that for Reed for sure. So I didn't dig too much into Watson's numbers, but yeah, targeting some of these Green Bay wideouts, like I said, with maybe less tight ends on the field in a game where they're expected to be down, I think could be good. But somebody that is going to have Charvarius Ward on them, though, and he is very good. Longtime Chief. Love that guy. He can play, and he had another strong season this year. So somebody is going to be facing him, and that's probably not going to go that well for them. But I would anticipate it is going to be one of the outside receivers. It could be Doubs after he had such a big game last week.